Hey, I did it right.
You did it. I figured, I'll give her a couple moments, but you were on it.
You
were great.
What can I say?
You're a professional Instagrammer. What can I say?
How's it going?
It's good, hanging in there. How are you?
I'd say about the same, just, trying to keep myself occupied as much as possible.
Yeah.
During these crazy times, but
very, very crazy.
Feeling blessed that I have a home and a family and all those things that you don't count as luxuries in normal life, but now are the most important things.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for doing this. I so appreciate it. I know this is going to be so helpful, I think, to so many parents and so many actors, Before we get started, I just want to let everyone know about the organization you chose.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the Equal Justice Initiative, which is here on the screen. So if anyone wants to donate, it's an amazing organization. It basically just helps with, I have my little description up here because I so many amazing organizations, but they work to end, racial inequality when it comes to mass incarceration. So it's an amazing organization. And if you want to donate, it does take you away from the screen, but don't worry about that because you can come right back. It's easy to join. And then we'll have the IGTV after this. So don't, and we greatly appreciate it.
Yep. This is an organization my family and I already donated to, earlier on. So I'm glad that this was something that people could easily click and donate, because I know, not everybody always has the money to, but every little bit helps. And so any way to encourage donations is just
absolutely. I mean, just $1, $5, anything is super helpful.
It adds up.
It adds up, totally. Okay, so let's just start with a little background about you, how you got started in the industry, what made you get into this in the first place. Yeah. I don't know a lot of these things, so give me a little.
Well, I am well versed in telling my story, but basically,
aren't we all?
Yeah, I know. At this point, but
yeah.
I grew up in East Texas. I went to college at University of Texas at Austin. And so I got my degree there in radio, television, and film. And I, after graduation, moved out to LA, and I knew I wanted to work in the film industry, although I wasn't quite sure in what capacity. And so, I knew a lot of jobs started with working as an assistant for a talent agency. Yeah. That was a good way to
just get experience is a must, as they say.
Exactly. So, so basically I kind of got into it not knowing what my next step would be. I'm like, I see Nico, hook 'em horns.
Nice.
So I knew that I wanted to do something, and I started at Coast to Coast as an assistant, and I fell in love with it. I've always loved children, and so I didn't even kind of think about that melding those two things together, because there's not a class about being an agent. That's not taught in school.
Nope.
So it was nothing I would ever consider. And I mean, honestly, I love my company. I love my coworkers. I mean, they are a big reason why I love doing it too. And, we're lucky to have great clients. So it just, it makes, every job has hardships, but I think that it's who you surround yourself with that can make everything the day by day go by.
100%.
So that's basically, after being there a few years, I, kind of moved up to junior agent, and then became an agent. And now it's going to be my 17th year.
Wow.
In October. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's very exciting. Okay. So I'm going to start with this question that I get all the time. Their message is my kid loves to put on shows and loves to perform, and I think they could be really good at this. It's where do I start? And it's that's such a loaded question.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's oh my God, there's so many things you could do. You could ask, but just from your perspective, I mean, what would you kind of say would be kind of the first stepping stone or first way to kind of dip your toes into this world?
I would say, and sorry, I keep moving around. This is my first time having to actually.
No, I do it too. You're fine.
This is basically me every Zoom too, shifting positions. But I would say the best, first of all, you don't have to be in LA to get started in the business. If it's something your kids really, you dip, don't jump into the deep end of the pool, kind of like wade in. So like look for local opportunities. Sometimes it could be in theater to just like nurture, you know, see how much they really love acting, because, you know, it's definitely, it's a craft. It can often be considered like, you know, it's has that form of like a hobby, you know, instead of maybe doing like soccer, you do acting and you take those classes, but it is a business. So there's a lot of like, you know, other things that come into it involving, you know, spending, you know, the right money on like headshots and classes and everything like that. Never to pay an agent up front or pay a manager. That is not a thing. So, you know, it's only if you book a job. So, but yeah, just spending the right like money on training. And I know there's so many places out there, even the smaller areas that might be near a bigger city, where you can go and get those classes. Or a lot of places, even in LA, do online coaching.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be there. I would start with that because, you know, you really want to see if the kid's going to be able to, you know, handle, it's a lot of that come with it. Yeah. And also, you know, it's just, I mean, that's why I'm on this. I mean, I take the rejection hard for our clients, but like, I can't imagine, you know, going through that. But I think when you love what you do, that is, it's, you know what you're going towards, and you look at every opportunity as an opportunity to act, even if it's just an audition. So I think definitely always start locally. You know, don't just think that you're going to start from, you know, no experience and, you know, go straight to the top.
Bam, Disney Channel, right.
Yeah, it happens sometimes, but, you know, you just got to be prepared for the long process.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would be my first step, is just find something local if you can, find something online. You don't need to pack your bags and move to LA like right off the bat. Like, especially so much stuff is done with like via tape and everything.
Yeah. You know? And there is a lot of community theater. I mean, you just kind of, even the smallest communities, you wouldn't even know. I mean, I'm up in the Agora Hills area. I didn't realize we had a community theater over here, you know? It's you just kind of have to
like choose that as a path.
Right.
It can sometimes be a great way to get in front of a lot of people. Yeah. You know, I think that you just need to figure out like what works for you. Yeah. You know, legitimacy, you know, monetarily. I don't think anybody should be going broke doing anything like that, you know, but like, I just think you just need to like, you know, do your homework. And I think that it's easier to do that now that you can research so much. And especially, I know that there's so many communities of parents that can talk to each other and say, hey, have you heard about this? Like, hey, about that. And you can kind of suss out pretty quickly, like what is like not the real thing. But like nothing should ever be, if you pay this, you will get an agent. That is never.
That's not a thing.
That's not a thing. Usually it's like, you know, workshops or things where you're getting to get the, you know, feedback and experience and kind of insight into what maybe, you know, an agent, you know, teaching a session can offer you. Right. But knowing that there's no guarantees, and it's more of like a you know, an acting experience exercise, you know. Right. So that's the thing, is just that those are the things you definitely don't want to fall for. There's nothing to be promised to you. Yeah. Trust me. If it could, I would be, I need to find that person who can
if it sounds too good to be true, it usually is.
Exactly.
Guys, too, if you have any specific questions, I just want to encourage you to use the question box so that I can display it on the screen for everyone to see. That way I don't miss. It's so hard to talk and read these at the same time.
I know.
You'll find that. So what would you say to parents as like a disclaimer? Because, you know, say their kid has been taking some acting classes, doing some theater, and they love it, and they really want to do it, and they're ready. They got the headshots. And I think parents don't realize that it's like a full-time job for them too. You know, I mean, a little bit different now in the sense that a lot of it's going to be done from home, but for the most part, in the real world, you're driving across town at the drop of a hat. And some of these parents work. So, I mean, what are some, other than that, like, you know, what are some disclaimers that you?
I mean, I think that's the thing. Is like, I mean, if you live in LA and you're going on, you know, live auditions, especially like with commercials, you're having to drive. And obviously, again, like you said, not right now. And who knows how, I feel like doing it via tape in the future might even be more of an option. But that being said, you still maybe need to go to your acting coach to have them tape you or to self-tape place. So,
yeah.
I mean, listen, I wish that it wasn't a business where anybody could do it, but yes, it does take having a parent that is available to drive. Whether that be, you know, a stay-at-home parent, whether that be somebody who has a flexible schedule, you know, all the different options for that. You know, I mean, it's just better to be truthful about that than to make anybody think otherwise. That doesn't mean there aren't creative ways of how you could try to like make it work, but without having somebody to get you, especially to those important like callbacks, and to be able to be on set with you.
Yes,
even
that's a big one.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. And like, if you like, that's a full-time job of being on set.
Full-time job.
I do know a lot of families though that will have like, they'll change out with relatives and take turns, and they make it work. So it might take some maneuvering, but it is in terms of if your goal is to be booking a movie, booking, you know, a TV series, that's a long commitment of being like the full-time parent / you know, on-set presence. So that's definitely something to consider, whether it's viable for your family. And it can be not right now, or maybe it will be later. Like, there's different times in, you know, everybody's lives and stuff. That's the one thing definitely to consider. And people don't.
Sometimes you can get uprooted to another state, you know, and that requires a family move for a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so you have to either, you know, acknowledge that that's, you know, we definitely have people who, you know, maybe clients that live in California who say, we can't do a series you know, out of state. And so limits on some of the opportunities, but that is possible to say, I can't, you know, we can't travel or be away that long. But a lot of series too are now shooting. I mean, you know, obviously like the big major, like ABC, NBC, they shoot longer seasons, but there's so many out there now that shoot like 10 episodes that it's like filming a movie. It's like this commitment. So
it's crazy.
But even that could be like 3 months that, you know, you need to be available.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're flying back and forth sometimes, and it's, you know, it's a commitment for sure.
It can be tough on families, so it's just something to keep in mind. But a lot of them make it work, you know. I mean, but it's about realizing that's what work is going to go into that.
Right,
you know?
right, for sure. So let's talk about sort of the different ages and what that means. You know, just from my own perspective, I have a 4-year-old, and a lot of people in that who have kids in that age range, they think, oh, I'm going to send my kids into acting. But I believe, and so correct me if I'm wrong, under 6 is mostly just modeling, right? I mean, I know there's some.
So basically at oh, sorry, somebody texted me. Well, like basically at 6 years old, you can work more hours. So everyone is more likely to try to like hire somebody who, I'm like
6 to play 4.
Somebody like 6 to play younger and stuff. So we typically start at 6. We occasionally, you know, have maybe started somebody at 5 who's maybe close to 6, or somebody, you know, that we just, you know. There's also a maturity to at 6 where you get a lot of things. And we're also a very nepotistic agency to where, I mean, we have had babies born into the department. So we've got a lot of that. And a lot of times too, especially if it's a family of, you know, actors and they have a kid, they're going to follow in their siblings' footsteps a lot of the times, you know. So mainly we do start at 6, sometimes a little younger, but like that's just realistically most of the time they're going to hire 6. Granted, sometimes they need, you know, maybe like a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old, but a lot of times then they'll do hire twins, so that they can work them long. So it's not, I say before making a huge leap, and even to have them really like in classes to really understand, you're not going to do that at 3 and 4. I can see the difference even between my niece and nephew. You know, one's 5, one's 8, and you know, I tried to send him an audition just because I thought it would be cute, and he didn't want to have anything to do with it. But she said, "Can I do it?" I was like, "Unfortunately, for preschool, so no." But
It's a personality thing too.
Exactly, you know? Everybody's different too. And it's like, and also there can be a misconception too of oh, my kid's got this great personality. That doesn't always. Kids come in that blow me away because they're just more, you know, insular. Like,
yeah.
So a personality doesn't equal an amazing actor.
100. I'm so glad you said that, because I mean, you have a lot of experience with kids. I have a lot of experience casting kids.
Yes.
And we have kids who come in and you can tell they are here. They are signed to an agent because of their big personality. But sometimes that big personality gets in the way of their acting, and you can tell that, like, they come in and they're like, it's like they have a monologue memorized of, hi, I'm Tony, and I love to skateboard. What do you like to do for fun? And I'm just like, all right,
Exactly. It's a little
we'll roll the camera, and then they go to do the scene, and they are just it's such a surface situation,
Exactly. And I think that's a lot of times too, is like, listen, that's, parents don't always, especially when they're getting started, they're trying to do the best for their children. And I do not fault them for that, but they see it from a different perspective where, you go in, you're chatty, you're polite, like that's how you act all the time in normal life. But like in terms of acting, you just go in, you be real. Like and I always tell kids that, I'm like, especially I see kids that are shyer and kids with louder personalities. And I never want shy kids to feel like they're less than because that kid has a personality. I'm like, ultimately, it's what you bring to the role.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not also saying that's a bad thing to have a good personality, but you just need to be authentic. You need to not feel like you're doing a put on when you're just introducing yourself, and that's the thing too. And I think that where it comes from parents, again, coming from a good place, but they're coming from, I'm going to teach my kid to put on the best presence as they should, as you would expect them anytime, but it doesn't necessarily work that way in this business.
It doesn't. Yeah. And we always do like a chat after, we have them do the read, and then we usually have them do a little chat in their slate just to kind of show that personality. And you can just, there's such a difference between the kids who are generally excited to talk to you and like generally want to tell you all about everything, and the kids who are thinking, what does mom want me to say?
Exactly. And I think, and the thing is, I've met kids who we've given them that note and it takes it right out of them. They just didn't know any better. And we've had kids, it's also a thing too, though, is that, like, so for us, when we meet kids, we talk to them first and then have them do their scene. And that's how we learn. There are some people that can be really big that then bring it down, and there's people that can really, like, quiet, they can bring, that's why I don't judge a person's personality by their acting ability. But
absolutely.
it's also, I can't remember where I was going with that, but yeah, so it's basically, it's not about like what you present, it's what you do it. But I don't think I'm never thinking this kid's quiet, they're not going to be able to act, or they're going to be too shy. Yeah, like that
absolutely
doesn't have to do with it.
But it's not a prerequisite.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So 6, like we were saying, 6 is when you start to get those longer hours. So a lot of time, and for the most part, it also drives me crazy when producers write. We had an episode once where a writer wrote a big role for it was a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old with multiple scenes, multiple lines. And so we were like, okay, well, the difference is, there's a big difference looks-wise, the way they carry themselves between a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 5-year-old. It's just so different. And it was very important to them that they get a 4-year-old. Like they wanted a 4-year-old. And so I said, you are either going to get a 4-year-old with less dialogue, or you're going to get a 6-year-old with this dialogue. They were, it was a lot, and they needed emotion and all of it. It was too much.
We can tell. A lot of kids too. It's like there's a reason. Also, 6 is kind of the magic number. It's not just out. There's just a level of understanding, that comes with age. And again, there are kids that get it when they're even younger, but for the most part, most kids we find, it's like that's the age where they're really starting to comprehend things. And I can't even tell you how many times they've been looking to cast a 4-year-old, and next thing they're they're like, do you have any 6-year-olds? And then sometimes they're even like, let's go 6 to 8. It's a really tough tough age.
Yeah.
And so,
you know, you can bring in 4-year-olds, but it's not going to be that magical, you know, Mickey Mouse voice with this like great emotional intelligence behind it. You know, it is what it is. 4-year-olds are toddlers.
They are definitely toddlers. Like maybe one in like a needle in a haystack, but that's not. Yeah. That kid probably is like in Montana and not even acting. You know, it's
right. So, okay, so 6 is when the hours kind of open up and when opportunities open up, and then the next bracket is 9, right? That's when
9. Yeah. So anytime that they can get more hours, they want hours. So a lot of times they'll want 9 to play younger, you know. So it's you know, a lot of for the most part, I don't feel like they're often looking 9 to play 6. Because it's really hard to find. But maybe like 9 to 7 to 9 or something. Right.
There
are the kids that are very, very small for their age.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff.
Yeah.
You know. So sometimes if you're a kid that it does look older than your age, it's a little more difficult when you're younger. That doesn't mean you won't your age. We've watched it happen a million clients. It might be like a Big 10, but then eventually they look like the rest of the 12-year-olds when they're all the same age, you know?
Right. Yeah. So, things are changing so rapidly. So 6, 9, and then it's kind of the same, right? From 9 to 18.
18 or like legal 18.
Legal 18.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So legal 18, is that do you want to talk about that or being emancipated?
Yeah, I'll just say, so there's 2 ways to be legal 18. One is if you graduate high school before you actually turn 18. So like my stepson didn't turn 18 until like, you know, midway through his first semester of college, but he was a high school graduate, so he could still work adult hours.
Right.
Then there's also the, sorry, I'm going to shift around again.
Oh, no worries. All good.
The California High School Proficiency Exam is basically, we call it, it's like a piece of paper in your pocket. Like you use it when you need, you know, they're a lot of times wanting 18 to play younger, especially for roles like around 16, 17. So you only use it when you need to. It doesn't mean, you can still go to a 4-year university. You still stay in high school. I mean, you can graduate high school with it, but you use it only when necessary to be competitive and get those roles. So that's what it means by like legal 18.
Yeah, that's really good to know because I have heard from some parents who said, oh, we don't want to be emancipated because she doesn't want to graduate high school early. And I was like, you know, she can still do high school.
It's 100.
So
most of our kids to high school, they have that piece of paper, and it's different. It's not emancipation. I mean, that's not what we recommend ever. I mean, for acting. I don't know what your personal reasons might be. Like we do, that's not something. This is just it's a piece of paper in your pocket that you can use to basically school yourself on set. Like, you know, you're still having schooled, you just aren't getting those specific breaks because you're working the adult.
Right. And the earliest you can do that is 16, right?
No, it is 16 or the second semester of your sophomore year.
Okay.
So whichever one of those comes first. Yeah.
And it's just a test that you take.
They offer it like I think 3 times a year, like in the spring, fall. We always recommend it to, you know, our clients because unfortunately otherwise it becomes just not a lot of opportunities between 16 and 18 because they're always wanting to hire, you know. However, if a client's not looking to do that, doesn't mean we drop them. We would never do that. It just means that you have to acknowledge you're gonna miss some opportunities in between that. But it's definitely something that just opens you up to like more roles.
And so many teenagers have done this, and this is something that I tell actors a lot when they are 24, so submitting to play high school or older.
Yes.
You know, that there are a lot of legal 18 teenagers who are fantastic. And we're always going to want to go for a more authentic looking, not even just looks, but it's the way that teenagers kind of carry themselves. And it's like that uncertain, you're kind of like feeling uncertain in your own body and that kind of like period in your life.
Yeah.
And that is so much more apparent than someone who's a little more confident in their mid to late 20s.
Exactly. And I mean, it also depends on like the show too, you know, I mean, like they're all in their like 20s, you know, playing high school. Same with like Glee was the same way. So it depends on like whatever in that world, when you see them all looking the same age, it's not like here's a 16-year-old, here's a 30-year-old. I mean, there definitely are cases, but for the most part, like, okay, this world, this is what 16 looks like. You know, and so it's not like not exactly looking like reality. Same with like Beverly Hills 90210 doing that. But other shows are true to age and more authentic, you know. So
absolutely. I mean, you just have to know your real age range. Don't, you know, if you truly don't look high school,
you're just going to be disappointed. It's knowing your age range, knowing what you play, knowing your strength, and you're not gonna. You're less likely to face as much rejection. I mean, you just want to set yourself up for success and not waste your time or casting stuff.
Once I would say once they have an agent, probably not before that. Would you recommend? I mean,
now I don't even know what's going on with them these days, but in normal times, you can get them the day. I mean, if you're out of state too, you have to like.
I did not know that. That's really good to know.
It actually might have changed right before COVID.
Okay.
So it like not been able to do it the same day, if I'm remembering correctly, but everything kind of became a blur after Friday the 13th.
I know.
But yeah, normally if you can apply from online, it doesn't hurt to like already apply while you're looking for it. You know,
that's true.
But definitely once you get an agent, that is the first thing you should be able to have. You know, otherwise you work without it.
Would you say that that's a helpful thing for a parent to say in a submission email that they already have a work permit, or does it not really matter because you know it's so easy to get?
It's not gonna. It doesn't worry. I would never not want to see somebody because of that. You know, I mean, it doesn't hurt, but like it wouldn't. It wouldn't. If somebody didn't have that information, I wouldn't say, oh well, never mind. You know, because I know that they'd be able.
No work permit. No. No.
It just means until you get one, you cannot work. So you know, we might not book something that works the next day. You need to be prepared for that.
Right.
You know, but other than that, it's not gonna hold me back. But you know, better. I mean, might as well be prepared if you're actively looking.
Right. And they need to be updating that. Is it quarterly?
It's every 6 months.
Okay, so twice a year. Is when the permits need to be renewed. Exactly.
And especially if you have, you know, an agent, do not let that expire. We will be very disappointed. It really, you know, throws us for a loop. And, you know, there are definitely, you know, ways you can try, like there are people that'll maybe expedite the fee, but you do not want to have to tell somebody that's ready to book you that you don't have a work permit. You know? And it's like it's one thing you have to stay on top of for sure. So
yes. Just add it to your list of SAG dues, your work permit. You know, normally I tell actors their passport, but normally definitely a passport. Always like make sure it's not expiring within like 6 months, because that was a big thing. I've had so many actors lose jobs over that. Oh yeah, I mean it's not just like, oh, it's, you know, about to expire. It's like if it's within 6 months, you need to have a new passport 100%. And it's just something you need to you need to have that. You need to have the work permit for sure. Okay, so when a parent is like ready to submit, they're excited about it. Like what do you look for? Do you watch reels? Are you looking for reels for kids? Is it more, because obviously that's more the case for adults. Is it more at that point a headshot thing? It's a headshot. A lot of times, yes. A referral definitely helps. And usually if you already have like active acting reel, you're most likely coming as a referral from a casting director. In terms of blind submissions, it really, like, I other than right now when I do have a lot of time, all the time in the world, but like, you know, normally during work, I don't have
time to watch, all these reels.
Yeah.
What'll happen a lot of times, though, if we do get a submission where we're like, you know what, this is somebody, who we could use right now. We don't feel like we have someone like this person. A lot of times what we do is ask them we send them material and have them put themselves on tape, which, is going to be more than a reel of scenes you've already done. And so that's usually, so you don't need to already have a reel for us. It would be more like if it's something, that we're looking for in terms of, what clients we currently have, then we may request something like that. Yeah. But yeah, for the most part, and also like having reels, for us, you don't need to just have reels of audition scenes. And I'm saying that for us personally. Other agencies, other managers could be completely different. So that's the thing too, is you never know who's going to want what. And I always say this, who's looking for. Yeah. So that's why when we were talking earlier about, the kid walking in the room and being smiling and trying to seem like appeal to somebody. It's like, you can't try because you don't know what everybody's wanting. That's why you just got to go in and be yourself.
A self-tape that they've done, or
I'm saying for our agency, most likely I'm not going to watch it or
gotcha.
Ask for it. Also, too, sometimes it can actually work against you because what you think might be like a great self-tape is not, and could be, might actually just, whereas I could send you some current material.
Work against you.
Exactly. So, that's the thing, though. It's hard to say because, again, there are other agents that may do it completely differently, and that could be a plus. So I think it's hard to say, what everybody wants, but for us, it's definitely more of like, is this somebody we need right now? And then we take the next appropriate steps,
Yeah, I'm listening to him also reading at the same time, which is a very tough skill that I'm working on. Okay. I don't know if this is a question you would know. If you take your, I'll just, is this not, this isn't showing up. Oh, I can't put questions up because of the fundraiser. Got it. All right. Someone said, if you take your GED and graduate early in another state, does that work in LA as well? Or do you have to take another test?
If you've already taken your GED, you're a high school graduate. You don't have to take another test.
You're good. Okay, great. At what point, personal decision, but I have heard from parents who say, I think we're going to look into homeschool because I think it will make us look better or open up our opportunities, or something like that. So
we honestly, we would never suggest that to people. Not saying homeschool is bad. I'm saying you lead your life as you want to lead your life, and figure out how acting works into that. And if you feel like, you know what, we'd rather do homeschool because of our situation, that's great. But everybody have to feel the need to do one way or the other. It's what works for your, same as relocating. We tell people you do not need to relocate to LA, but if everybody's financial situation is different, everybody's work situation is different. I think you need to always do what's best for your family, because I think a lot of times too, if you're doing things only for the business, and I mean, yes, you do have some things for the business, but if you're only doing things for the business, there's a level of pressure you put on yourself, on your child, on your family, that it's going to be in your head when you go in a room.
100%.
And so I think that it's, you figure out how you can make this work into your life. And as the opportunities grow, and as the, maybe your child starts booking, well, it takes you to a different level of what you may or may not be willing to do, or may be able to do. And you figure it out along the way. But I don't think you need to jump the gun. I never say to LA. I don't think you need to homeschool your kid before you realize that it's an issue. Some people do because they realize that, it works better for a multitude of reasons. Yeah. Some people already homeschool regardless of the industry. Yeah. But you think that you do what works for you and your family, and we make things figure them out. Never tell people to do that. We're never like, you need to be available at all hours of the day for auditions. All we ask is that if you're not available for some reason, just let us know. We book you out, and we can't make an audition that way.
Like and for the most part, we always try to send appointments in the afternoon, you know, after school. Sometimes it doesn't always work out for a producer session, but it's certainly never a requirement on our end, or it certainly doesn't make any kids a more valid option because one is homeschooled or like we're not going to hire a kid who's
is only that's a personal decision of what works for you.
Yeah,
I mean
exactly.
That's and also the same with, you know, with kids that if for some reason they couldn't make a callback, we figure that out too. And we juggle schedules. Like that's what we try to work, you know. We have, you know, a commercial department too, where we'll try to work out if there's conflicts and stuff. So that's, you know, one of the parts of our job is trying to figure out how to get you there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So then at what point do you recommend parents opening up a Coogan account? Is it usually like the first job you kind of want to have that ready to go?
Have that you should have it ready to go. I know a lot of people have issues with going to a bank and the bank's like, no, you need the employer, and that's not accurate. So I feel like people come to me with that problem. I tell them that's not accurate, and next thing I know, they have one. So I don't really know what it is. I guess maybe just telling the bank you're wrong, but a lot of times people have this, and I'm like, that's incorrect, and then I don't hear from them. So get it worked out because I think maybe sometimes on what it is, but I mean, a lot of banks, you know, should know what that is, and again, and then clients can always ask if there's an issue. But if you don't have it set up before you just get it set up once you get a job. But usually that's something to have in advance to be prepared, especially as soon as you sign with an agency.
Yeah. And so for those who haven't heard of a Coogan account, it's just an account where you can put, is there a requirement for a percentage of the amount of money that you have to put in that account?
15%.
15% of what the child makes goes into the account that they can't touch till they're 18.
Exactly. To protect the child, you know, because not everybody out there is, you know, most people are doing their best, so I'm not knocking everybody by any means, but yes, unfortunately, that the kids need to be protected so that they do get in the
And, you know, I mean, and that way, you know, some parents spend a lot of money on travel and quicker jobs to do this. So that way the parents protected, but the kids also protected. It's that way you don't have to, you know, put all the money in there. You can have a little bit back, but they have some too.
And I personally, like, listen, and when you're, you know, having not working, your full-time job is like taking care of your kid on and stuff. I mean, are you going to make sure that you and your kid are, you know, surviving? And yes, you might have to use some of that as a family money, but it's out to a lot of times about the parents who aren't looking out for the kids. That's how it all started.
Yeah.
You know, from back in the old days from Jackie Coogan. So
what would you say is the biggest mistakes that parents tend to make, either in the beginning or just consistently with what you see?
I think listening to the people or letting people get in your head. I mean, a lot of kids out there are friends with kids in the business, and their parents are friends. And so sometimes they could easily get in each other's heads, you know, about like, has your kid been out for this, and what about this, and you know, all of these things.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's, you know, we always say we get our clients out on everything they're right for. Whether another agent gets a kid in for something doesn't mean that kid was even right for it. You know, I mean, there's just a lot of stuff to it. It's about trusting your agent, and it's not about not being able to question or ask questions, but for the most part, our job is to make your job easier. You know, you don't need to have worrying about these things all the time. You need to know that you're in good hands. And if you don't feel that way, you might not be the right agent. And again, we're not the right agent for everybody, just as the same as other agents aren't the right agent for everybody. We all do the same thing in different ways. I mean, unfortunately, I've witnessed it with, you know, several clients throughout the years who maybe thought that the grass was greener on, there were greener pastures out there. And
yeah,
I feel like they not only jumped gun too soon, but they left people who had been nurturing their kid's career. And you don't get that just walking in another door all the time.
Yeah.
And I guess just realizing that, yes, it's a business, but yes, we're also dealing with children, and we care about what is, happening with them in the world as well as in this business, so it's not so much like a revolving door all the time, and definitely there are times where you have to make a change, but just basically not overthinking or getting too involved in what other people are telling you, because they're not always giving you the best advice. That's can't feel good. It can't feel good. And I don't want anyone to feel that way and look back as a parent and say, I make the right decision.
So that's actually a good question. Sorry, you're pausing for a second, but you'll come right back. So have you ever had an instance where like a family has left because of unbeknownst reasons and then like begs to come back? Pausing again real quick.
I don't know what's going on. Okay.
That's okay. It happens sometimes. We're back.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, it's definitely like happened, I mean, and I don't want to say that it's a yes or a no thing from happening. But a lot of times too, you've got to remember, like, don't, burn your bridges. And also sometimes, you leave and you go elsewhere and you come back and you want to come back basically because you don't have the momentum anymore. It's difficult. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
And it depends. I'll say that there are times we've done it and there's times we've not done it.
Yeah.
And
okay.
It also depends on the situation.
Yeah. What do you have to say about, I've seen a large influx of child social media accounts, like run by parents, but thinking that it's helpful to their career, but I'm not entirely sure who it's for,
I think that people have different opinions. Personally, I think that, I think it's helpful, but it works in conjunction that, like, people with higher numbers have also been in, movies and therefore already have more recognition. To be only recognized on social media, definitely like that, and not being like not for acting, I don't see that as a plus. Yes, might there be some projects that for social media stars? Yeah. No. And again, that could be somebody who is known, who is an actress who just does fashion and everybody wants to follow them. But are looking, that do have projects and are gaining followers. I mean, the more known they are, I think the more known they kind of become in the industry a little bit. But it has to reach high levels.
Yeah.
Ultimately matter. Yeah. Where
it's like if you have the time for it, I guess it doesn't hurt, but don't stress about it.
I think it's important, especially when you have a project, to promote it. I think that's really something you worked on. You want people to see it. You want people to connect with it. But I think that you don't have to worry as much in the force it. And I feel like it needs to feel authentic. And I feel like for a lot of our client stuff, when I'm looking at what, person A and person B are doing, they're doing it differently because they're doing it as their personalities, Right. Some people are a little shyer and they're like, I don't know, how to really do it. And it's like, try your best. But if you feel like you don't need to get on Instagram Live every day and be like, hey, everybody, it's me.
Yeah.
That's not your personality. Because it's not going to, you're not good about it and they're not going to. It's not going to, So I think it's important, especially.
So what are some trends that you noticed, you might notice with clients and kids who do book a lot? Is there anything that you kind of notice that's consistent amongst them?
I mean, to be honest, a lot of this business is timing. We have amazing actors, and some who might not have hit their, big thing yet, not for lack of talent.
Yeah.
It's the right role at the right time. And even after booking that right, clients book things where I've thought this is a you know, a game changer, and the movie just doesn't turn out through no fault of the clients like the way it probably should have been, and it doesn't lift them off the way it should have, and it's not their fault, you know. So I mean, it's really hard to say. I haven't noticed like a specific trend per se. People, I think you need to just keep your eyes on your own path and realize that, you know, booking something over to somebody else doesn't always have to do with your performance. Just know that you go in and do your my back. My phone's
all good.
So that's the thing, is just know, you know, that you just work at your craft and enjoy what you do. Enjoy it every time you walk in the room as much as you can, and know that the right thing is going to line up. And I say that a lot, and I know my clients have heard that a lot. And and the thing I know too is that a lot of those people can say the right thing did come along. It's not always going to mean you book like a blockbuster movie. It could be a meaningful project. It could mean a great arc on a show that's really important that helps you get to that next level. You book one line on one show that you've always wanted to be on. It's everybody's, like, where you're at in your career and what you want to do is different. So it's about like setting, you know, set your own goals, but know that there's so much in this business you can't control. And all of that, that's why you just keep your eye, stay in your lane, keep your eyes on your prize, you know, and just keep working hard and enjoying yourself.
Especially when it comes to kids. I mean, kids are going through so much already. And sometimes your kid's going to have a bad day, and that's okay. You know, I've seen it happen before. I once saw, it was a 4-year-old. It happened before, you know. And I heard the mom say, you know, if you don't get back in there, your iPad's getting taken away. You know, and he started to cry.
To it, I'm like, I'm in such a bad angle. Anyways, if the kid's not into it, we can tell.
You're fine. You're
so
good.
When we meet kids, very interested in being in the business. So it's not a lot of people forcing their kids, but you know, it's especially at the age of 4. That's such a difficult age, you know. But we've also had clients that are, you know, older and go in and don't get performance and come out and they, you know, reach out to us and they're like, I feel like I messed up, and we say, well, let's go self-tape. Let's put yourself on tape. We'll send it to casting, and we'll let them know that, you know, something was going on that day. I mean, you can't do it after every audition, but for the most part, if you have something where you feel, you know what, that was just not how I wanted it to go, we're working to do everything we can to make sure you feel good about what you did in the room, and if not, thing after, you know, leave the room.
Absolutely. What's your favorite part of the job?
I mean, when clients book their first job, I think like it could be like a tiny job, but like just, you know, and then of course, obviously, as they book other jobs, but like sometimes those just, I mean, it's literally can be a kid that comes out and books like one line, and that's like the most important thing. And that, you know, at this point, I mean, you know, known them like all their childhood, you know, I mean, now I have like babies, and like, it's just crazy the way it works, and seeing like watching their careers take off, and, you know, still knowing where they came from, and knowing that this great person's getting what they deserve, you know, and like, just that's my favorite stuff, just watching their,
you know, around there. Do you transfer them over to the adult side?
Well, not to our adult department is separate. Our goal is we often like to transition to where we can split them with like a big, you know, adult agency, and
got it,
into adulthood. So that's the big thing. I'm just letting you know, my phone is like running low on battery.
You know what? We're just about out of time.
Okay, good. Well, anyways, I just didn't want to cut off, but like, We basically, I'll say that. So basically, that's to where we can transition them into the adult world, but also not throw them out, you know, and to be doing it on their own, to help them with that process. So that's always our ultimate goal, you know, to make sure that they reach, you know, their full potential and get to where they need to be.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Well, perfect timing.
Yeah.
Because we're just about out of time, and Instagram will kick us off in a couple minutes anyway, and they're always early on that for some reason. But hey, $100 to the Equal Justice Initiative.
Yes.
So, yay.
And am I able to donate if I click?
If you would like to.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna add.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank
it was
you.
such a pleasure to see you and talk to you.
Well out there.
Thank you. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Wear your mask.
Yes, you too. Bye.